Okay, good morning and welcome to the penultimate daf in the Kesubos, Daf It 111. It's a really long daf today. Hopefully we'll get it in a half an hour. Let's get started from the bottom. It on B is 110b. The second to last line. Reb Zera Havak Mishtam Minid Rav Yehuda. Reb Zera was avoiding his teacher Rav Yehuda. The Baal Mesak there Eretz Israel. He wanted to make Aliyah to Eretz Israel, and we're going to see his Rebbe Rav Yehuda felt it wasn't proper to make Aliyah to Eretz Israel so long as there was no Geula. Damar Yehuda called me Bavel Eretz Israel over Be'esta. Anyone who leaves Bavel was the center of learning back then. I guess it would be similar to Lakewood nowadays. He violates mitzvah's essay. Shenemar says in the Navi, in Yirmiyahu, Bavel Yivo, the top of Kufi Alf and Aleph, they'll go to Bavel, right, after Nebuchadnezzar conquered Yerushalayim, the first Galus. They'll stay there until I call them back. Meaning when Mashiach comes, that's what Hashem said. Reb Zera, what did he do with this pasuk? That's talking about the vessels of the Beis Hamikdash that were taken to Babel and never returned. Rav Yehuda, Ksiv Krach, Rav Yehuda, he had a different pasuk. This is a pasuk in Shir Hashirim that Hashem makes a shvua, makes Klal Yisrael take a shvua that they shouldn't return. The continuation of the pasuk says that they shouldn't return. What was the shvua? The shvua is he told them they shouldn't return. Rabbi Zera, what did he do with that pasuk? Aho shalo yalu Yisrael b'choma. He says a different warning to Klal Yisrael. The Klal Yisrael, if there's a wall around Eretz Yisrael, around Yerushalayim, like Donald Trump tried to do in the southern border, you shouldn't climb over the wall. Yehuda, Hashpati Achrina, or Yehuda, shouldn't he use it for that? Hashpati Achrina Ksiv. There's actually a second mentioning of Hashpati in Shir Hashirim. So the second one is Shalo Yali B'chom. Rabbi Zera, he says the second pasuk, the Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, the Amar, Shlosha Shvuos Halal Lama. There's actually 3 psukim in Shir Hashirim that are seemingly identical, where Hashem makes Klal Yisrael take a Shvua. Lama. Why do you need 3 mentionings? One, they shouldn't climb walls, scale walls. I guess it's dangerous to scale walls. They shouldn't rebel against non-Jewish people so long as no Gula. Hashem made a shvua to the Goyim that even though they should put Klal Yisrael in servitude, it shouldn't be more than they can handle. Rabbi Yehuda, what did he do with these pasuks? These psukim. Im ta'iru v'im toraru ksiv. It's a repetition. Im ta'iru v'im toraru. The continuation of the pasuk is Hashem made a shvua. Im ta'iru v'im toraru. Right? Whether you should wake up or rise to go back to Eretz Yisrael. Hashem, don't rise. Don't wake up and don't start moving to go back. Reb Zera mivayle Reb Levi. Reb Zera needs it for Reb Levi. The Amar sheish shvuos halal ulama. Why were there 6 shvuos? Right, because there were 3 psukim with that shvua, and all 3 psukim said a double lashon ta'irum ta'aru. So there are 6 shvuos that Hashem said lama tlasel hani da Amar, and 3 we mentioned previously. Enoch, the other 3, shall yigul as a case. Klal Yisrael shouldn't, and the Nevi'im shouldn't tell Klal Yisrael when Mashiach is going to come. Shall yirchu as a case. They shouldn't do averos, which will push off the geula of shal yigul soda of the kochav. They shouldn't tell the secrets of Judaism to non-Jews. Similarly, in Mesachas Hagigah, they shouldn't teach Torah to non-Jews. Kesubos, avayolos, asada. Pasuk's talking about 2 different animals, gazelles and svos, I guess, are deer. Amar Reb Zera, Amar L'Magash Baruch L'Yishal, with him Makayim Es HaShvua Mutav. If you're Makayim this oath, it's good. V'imlav Ani Ma'atir Es B'sarachem Kesubos Chales Asada. Then I'll skin you, like people skin the hides of donkeys and gazelles. Amar Lezer Kol Dar Be'Eretz Yisrael Shari B'Lo Avon. Anyone who lives in Eretz Yisrael, it's like he is living there without sinning. Any sins are not really sins. Shemar Rabal Yomar Shachin Chalis Hayam Ayoshev Nasu Avon. Right, the pasuk is talking about Eretz Yisrael. It calls them the Su Avon, meaning they're not, they don't have sins. Amalei Rava Ravashi Ana B'Sovle Chaloi Mastinallah. He says, I was the Ravashi. We're talking about people that don't have sins who live in Israel, only talking about people who endure much suffering through sickness. Their slate is wiped clean. Other people can accrue sins in Eretz Israel. Amar Rav Anan, call cover Israel, kilo cover takas mizbeach. You're buried in Israel. It's like you're buried under the mizbeach, which seemingly is a good thing. You can decide for yourself whether it's a good thing or not. Ksiv hacham mizbeach adam tasel. By the mizbeach, nechoshes outside the Beis Hamikdash. In the Azara, it says mizbeach adam tasel. Ksiv hasam mekiper admasa imo. Again, it uses the word adama, and adama in the second pasuk presumably is referring to adama of Eretz Israel. So therefore, mizbeach adama, anyone who's buried in Israel is like being buried under the mizbeach adama. Ula habaragul that was Israel. Ula, he used to travel between Bavel and Eretz Israel. He ended up dying when he was in Chutz La'aretz in Bavel. Also, Amrullah Rabbi Lazar. He told Rabbi Lazar, who was close to him, that he had died. Amar Ant Ula al Adama Tmea Tamus. Ula, the great one, you're going to die. It's a terrible thing. He died on an impure land in Bavel. Amrullah Ron Abba. They said, nonetheless, they're bringing his coffin on a flight to Eretz Yisrael to be buried. Amar Lahem Eino Dome Klato Michayim Klato Lachar Misa. There's a big difference. Someone who actually dies in Eretz Yisrael to someone who actually dies outside Eretz Yisrael and is brought there after death. Who Gavra the Nafli Levama. There was a certain man, his brother died. He was living in Eretz Yisrael. His brother died in Beit Chozai, which was a place in Bavel. Should I go do a mitzvah of Yibam outside of Chutz La'aretz? Your brother married a Kusis, a non-Jew. She's not necessarily a non-Jew, otherwise there'd be no mitzvah of Yibam, but she's like a non-Jew, like we said yesterday. You live outside of Israel, it's like you worship of Azara. He deserved to die because he lived outside of Eretz Israel. But who Yared Acharav, and you're going to go down to Bavel after him? Amar Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Hard to believe. In the midst of even though Raisa, I just maybe do Chalitza. Amar Shmuel. I mean, you have to do Chalitza, bring her. Maybe he was saying she should come to Eretz Israel. Amar Shmuel. Kashem Sha'asal Aziz Eretz Israel. The Bavel. It's just like you can't leave Eretz Israel to Bavel. It seems like an Isser. Some people actually know like this. I think Rav Chaim Kanievsky never left Eretz Israel his whole life. I mean, he was born outside of Eretz Israel. He was born in Europe. But once he got to Eretz Israel, he never left Eretz Israel. Similarly, Nasal Sali is Bavel. Nowadays would be a place of great Torah scholarship, maybe like Lakewood, New Jersey. Even though I met a guy from Lakewood yesterday, I wanted him to do a short interview for my YouTube channel. I don't know. They have like a different culture there in Lakewood. I think I was a complete jerk. And they have this way of talking, like, I don't know. It's like a yeshivish way of living. I told him it would be maybe help out the yeshiva there, the Rosh Yeshiva in Lakewood. He's like, I don't know who they are. How do you live in Lakewood and not know who the Rosh Yeshiva or the main yeshiva are? Anyway, I'm not saying all people in Lakewood are jerks, but this guy was a complete jerk. He just acted like a jerk. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't want to be on my YouTube. It's very understandable. A lot of Haredi people don't want to be on YouTube. The way the guy talked, it was just a very annoying person to deal with. And I've encountered other people like that also. So the Gemara says, meaning that there's Haredi people here in Eretz Israel that, but they're not like, I don't know, they're sort of like stolz. I don't know, that's the word they use in yeshivas. It's like still a little bit of an arrogance. It's like being part of Lakewood. It's like an American arrogant. Here in Eretz Israel, you don't experience that so much, Yeshivish, they go learn yeshivas. It's not that arrogance, like I'm part of this community where we're above everybody else and we learn Torah also. Don't know, that's the feeling I got. I've met other people from Lakewood also, that's the feeling I get, unfortunately. So, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Kshina also Atzis Eretz Israel Bavel, Kachas Atzis Bavel the Shar Ratzos. So you can't leave Eretz Israel. Also, you shouldn't leave Bavel to go to Shar Ratzos. Rabba Rav Yosef, even to go leave Pumbedisa, which is a big city, which had big Torah institutions, to go to a small village without the big yeshiva. Says, also, how did not Pumbedisa Lebekubi? One person left Pumbedisa Lebekubi. Shamte Rav Yosef put him in Nidoy. How did not Pumbedisa Astunia? He left Pumbedisa to go to another town, Astunia. Shachiv, he died. Amar Abaye, if he would have wanted to live, he could have lived by not leaving. The kosher people, people that are kosher, right? They're made out of cows and not pigs. Um, People that are kosher, the decent people in Bavel, Eretz Yisrael Kolatan, meaning if they go to the burial in Eretz Yisrael, it suffices, the Eretz Yisrael accepts them in burial. Bavel Kolatan. If they're decent people in other lands, so Bavel would accept them in their dirt. Lamai. What does this mean? Meaning the highest level is Eretz Yisrael, second highest level is Bavel, and the third highest level is Sha'arat. So they're talking about genealogy, right, where we're sure that the person has a Jewish lineage. Israel. All other lands are considered Isa, meaning when you make dough, you have to sift the flour, so you have to sift them compared to Eretz Yisrael, where the lineage is more pure. Eretz Yisrael, Isa, the Bavel, the most pure lineage is in Bavel. Eretz Yisrael, you have to sift compared to Bavel. Alinya Kvura. We're talking about Kvura, the best place to be buried, Eretz Yisrael. I'm going to call it Dar Bavel. If you live in Bavel, feel Dar Eretz Yisrael. It's like you live in Eretz Yisrael. Shnemar Haim Sion Himlati Yosheves Bas Bavel. It calls Bavel Sion. Sion normally means Eretz Yisrael. I'm going to buy it in Bavel Ochazia Chelid Mashiach. Bavel is so special. They won't even have the pains of Mashiach, the arrival of Mashiach. They won't experience. They said it's only talking about a specific part of Bavel. Hutzah, a city called Hutzah Binyamin, Mekarle, Karna, the Shivta. They call that place a corner of salvation. Amar Rav Elazar, Mesim Shbechutz La'aretz Enam Chayim. People who die outside Eretz Yisrael, they are not resurrected. They'll never be resurrected. Shneimar Natati Tzvi Ba'aretz Chayim Eretz Yivonu Ba Me'aseh Chayim She'en Tzivyoni Ba En Me'aseh Chayim. Svi means deer, but it also means the will, the ratzon of Hashem. So the land that Hashem has a ratzon, he loved Eretz Yisrael. So there, people die, they'll live once again. Land that Hashem doesn't desire as much, the dead people won't be resurrected. Rabbi Mama has a problem with this. Pasuk says, the dead people will live. Navalti, the Nevela, people will die, will rise. My lab yichyu mesecha. What is the two parts of the pasuk? The first part of the pasuk, yichyu mesecha mesim shemer Yisrael. That's talking about people who die in Eretz Yisrael. They'll be revived. Navalti yikum and mesim shem chutz la'aretz. The second part of the pasuk is talking about even if they die in Eretz chutz la'aretz, they'll also be revived. But my benasati svi ba'aretz chayim. What is the first pasuk talking about? Anu muchanetzar udechsiv. Amar Rachmana ma'isana alayu malcha the kal ketavia. The pasuk talking about the conquest of Nebuchadnezzar when he conquered Yerushalayim. I'll bring upon you a king who's as swift in his conquest as a deer. Amalei Rebbe, Mikra Achar Nidorish, Nosin Hashem La'am Aleha, Veruach Laholchim Ba. He said a different pasuk. I give life to the people on it, Veruach Laholchim Ba, and Ruach the people that walk on it in Eretz Yisrael. Ve'ela Aksiv Nevalti Yikum. What's the second part of the pasuk talking about? It's talking about not just regular people will die, also miscarriages in Eretz Yisrael, they'll be revived. But outside Eretz Yisrael, no one will be revived. Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel, who held even people outside Eretz Yisrael, will be revived. Hai nosin neshama lam aleha mayabidle. What does he do that pasuk? Malay the Rabbi Abba, the Amr Rabbi Abba, afilu shifcha knainish Eretz Yisrael muftach la shibas olam haba. Right? Of course, if you're a Jewish person outside Eretz Yisrael, you can be revived. The chiddush is even if you're a shifcha knainish in Eretz Yisrael, you'll also be subject to revival. Shehibas olam haba, ksiv hachal amal, the nation on it. Ksiv hasam shulachem po ima chamor, right? It says by Eliezer, the Eved Knaini of Abram, right? Sit here with a donkey, and the Gemara Darshans is not with a donkey. Adom el chamor. They're a nation that's comparable to donkeys. Avadim Knainim. Baruch laholchem ba. The Gemara continues darshan. What does that pasuk mean? Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, Yochanan kol mahalach arba amos be'eretz Yisrael mutach lo shu ben olam ba. If you walk a mere 4 amos, 6 feet in Eretz Yisrael, you're short of being part of olam haba. The rest are tzadikim shvutz aretz enim chayim. According to Rav Elazar, right, who says they don't live, how could it be tzadikim? What about tzadikim? Fine, regular people, I can understand maybe they won't be revived, but what about tzadikim? Amr the Gilgal. They will be revived. They'll have a Gilgal. What does Gilgal mean? So I think Rashi explains they'll be rolled to Eretz Yisrael from their graves. I think Gilgal means like a reincarnation, meaning after they die, they'll be reincarnated and brought to live in Eretz. They'll reincarnated and born in Eretz Yisrael. And that way, that's my shot over here. So I'm asking Rabbi Abba Saleh, Rabbi Saleh, the great Rabbi Abba Saleh said, "Golos Adikum Sarhu." How could they be subject to pain? They go through a Gilgal. It's going to be pain for them. Tzaddikim should go through pain. Amar Rabbi Mechilos Nasa Lehem Bekarka. They'll tunnel in through the karka, right? Now, what does this mean? Right? If it means Gilgal, means they'll rolled in. So here they have subterranean tunnels that'll go somehow through the ocean. I don't know, and connect to Eretz Yisrael. Mechilos, I don't know, maybe they've been born in Gaza, part of Eretz Yisrael maybe, and they'll tunnel in from Gaza into Eretz Yisrael. Aslan Bekarka. And it's out there Mitzrayim Mekavarsh B'Kurasam. Right? This is talk about Yaakov. He tells his children, take me out of Mitzrayim, bury me in Eretz Yisrael. I'm not karna dvarim bago. There's secret things going on over here. There, Yaakov, Avinu Shetzadik Gomra. He knew he was a complete tzaddik. If people who die in Chutz Haaretz, they live. Lam Hetriach Es Bonov. Right? If you hold that you can't be revived, you could be revived in Chutz Haaretz, why was he so insistent on being buried in Israel? So the answer, Shem Eliyiskel and Mechilos, maybe there won't be enough tunnels to get to Eretz Yisrael. Similarly, Vayishba Yosef is Bnei Yisrael. Yosef made Bnei Yisrael swear, I'm Mechina Dvarim Bago. Secret things going on over here. Yosef Atam Shadu Gomra. I knew he was a big tzaddik. If dead people in Chutz Haaretz live, Lamed Shech Zachav, Arba Meos Parsa, to bring him 400 parcels from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael, Shem Eliyiskel and Mechilos, maybe he wouldn't be Zocha to be brought through these subterranean tunnels. The brothers of Rabba sent him. Rabba was living in Chutz Haaretz. He was a Tzaddik Gomer. Ilpa Moshe brother. Ilpa added to the letter they sent him. So it was a certain man. He wanted to get married to a certain woman. A Bikesh Leirid. He wanted to leave Eretz Yisrael to get married. He saw maybe they won't even be revived. People who died in Chutz Haaretz. Gilgal Ba'atzma Yomoso. He caused pain to himself until the day of his death. But remained there. Even though Rabba, you're a big chach, a big Talmud chacham, still, it's worthwhile even for during your lifetime to come because you'll be able to learn from Rebbe. Even talking maybe here there's no Rebbe. There's a big rabbi to learn from. Rabbi Yochanan is his name. If you still insist not to come to Eretz Yisrael, at least be careful about three things. Yeshiva, don't sit too much. Yeshiva kasha daktonios. It's bad for hemorrhoids. Amida, don't stand too much. Amida kasha alev. It's bad. You may have a heart attack. You shouldn't walk too much. It's bad for your eyesight. The best way to spend your day is to divide it 1/3 sitting, 1/3 standing, 1/3 walking. Any sitting where you don't have a rest, right? You don't have an arm rest, you don't have a leg rest, you don't have a head rest, right? Amida no chaimanu. It's better to stand. Amida sakadaita. Amida really could be better. Amida kasha alev. Cause a heart attack if you stand too much. El Yeshiva, the Gemara says El Yeshiva, top of Kuf Yud Aleph Amid Beis, Yeshiva she'em basmicha, sitting without a headrest or an armrest or a footrest. Amida sheish basmicha no chaimana, standing with support, right, leaning on a wall is better than that type of sitting. Amru Yitzchak v'Shimon v'Oshaya Amru davar echad. Similarly, he said Yitzchak will soon identify who these people are. They said the same thing. Halacha Rabbi Yehuda b'Preidos. This is not relevant to this Gemara over here, but it was relevant to the story that was going on. He said, "The son Rabbi Yehuda Omer Preidos shetava ein marvin alei losus v'lo chamor." There's an isser to make kilayim, right, to mate animals that are not the same type. So if a mule, which is a product of a donkey and a horse that were intimate together, they had a preidah, mule. So don't think, since the mule is a combination of both, you can mate the mule with a horse or with a donkey. No, you can only mate a mule with another mule. It's not relevant to Eretz Yisrael, but it's relevant to Rabbi Yehuda. What their discussion was over there. Elamina, Amar Rabbi Yachim Yitzchak, Zer Rabbi Yitzchak, Zer Rabbi Yitzchak Nav. Who are the three people in the letter? Yitzchak was Rabbi Yitzchak Nafka. Shimon, Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi. It was Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi. Amar Rish Lakish. Some say it's not Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi, it was Rish Lakish. Oshaya, Rabbi Oshaya ben Rebbe, Rabbi Oshaya the son of Rebbe. Amar Lazar, Ame Aratzos, Eren Chayim. People who are ignoramuses, people who don't know anything about the Torah. They only know on Google what's going on Google. Eren Chayim, they won't live. Shnemar, Mason Bal Yichyu, the dead people, they won't live. Tani Nami Hachi, Mason Bal Yichyu. Dead people won't live. Yachal Akol, you might think all people are ignorant. If he wasn't born Jewish, or he was born not affiliated with Torah, so you can't fault him. However, if someone was born into Torah, where he was supposed to be learning in yeshiva, and he is marapa atzma with divrei Torah. He loosens his grip on divrei Torah on purpose. That's what it's talking about. He still was very upset at him for saying this, right? Just because people go off the derech, it's their fault. The pasuk is talking about someone who loosens his grip on Judaism. He takes a bend towards Christianity or a different avodah zarah. She says, I have a different pasuk. Kital oros talyecha. I do have proof that only Talmidei Chachamim will be revived. The Eretz are fine. Tapil kol mishamish bar Torah. Right, this pasuk is talking about being revived, the dew that will revive the dead. So it's called orot. Kol mishamish bar Torah. Anyone who uses the light of the Torah or Torah mechayev, or the light of the Torah that he used during his lifetime, that will revive him from the dead. Kol mishamish bar Torah. Anyone who doesn't use the light of the Torah, Torah mechayev, Torah won't revive him. Kevin the Chazak and Star Yochanan was still upset. How could it be? Only people learn Torah will be revived. Amalei Rebbe Matati Lantakana Min Torah. He said, don't worry, I found a way for them to get out of it, to get revival, even if they don't actually learn Torah. But the Pasuk says, you'll cling to Hashem and you'll be alive. Can you really cling to Hashem? Hashem is a consuming fire. You cling to Hashem, you'll be burnt. If you marry your daughter off to a Talmid Chacham, you do business Talmid Chacham, give them good prices. The Mahana Talmid Chacham, right? They come as shluchim to collect for their yeshivas and their kolim. You let them stay in your house, right? You give them a nice brand car, an Audi for them to drive. Or you drive them even better. You drive them yourself. It's like you cling. It's like you're cleaving to the Shechina. Similarly, love Hashem. And to cling to him, could a person really cleave to Hashem? You marry your Talmid Chacham, right? You do business with them, you benefit them financially. It's like you're cleaving to Hashem. Tzaddikim are going to sprout forth, right, from the ground like grass in Yerushalayim when they're revived. Right, they'll sprout like grass in the ear. The ear must be Yerushalayim. Ear in another place in Tanakh is referred to as Yerushalayim. The ear is being referred to as Yerushalayim. And tzaddikim, when they come out of their graves and they're revived, they'll be wearing clothes. Right? Logically, we can infer it from a grain of wheat. When you plant the seed, it has no clothing on it, it has no chaff or whatever. Yosef Kama Lavushin, it comes out, right? Wheat, when it grows, it has chaff, it has different coverings. Tzaddikim are buried in Lushayin here, and they're buried in the talis. Alachas are buried in their burial shroud. Alachas Kama Makama, certainly they'll come out with clothes on. Amar B'chia Bar Yosef, Asidar Yisrael Shtos Gluskos K'Viklimalis. In the future, when Mashiach comes, Eretz Yisrael is going to be so prosperous, it's going to bring forth bread, ready-made bread, and and kli miles, right? Beautiful woolen garments will just sprout from the ground. Shemar, he pisas bara aretz. Pisas could be pasyad. It can be a reference to pasyad, meaning bread the size of your hand. Challah rolls, let's say. And pisas also is tonat pasim, right? A nice woolen cloak that Yosef got from his father. Tanamon, he pisas bara aretz, barosh harim. Amru, they said, Asida chita shitamer kedekel. The grain that grows, the wheat grain that grows, it'll be as big as a palm tree. But Ola Barosh Harim, it'll reach the top of mountains. Maybe it'll be so big, it'll be hard to harvest. Talmud Lomar Yirash Kalvan Imperio, right? Kadosh Baruch Hu maybe Ruach Meves Knazov Nashbalav Mashra Salosa. Adam Yosel Sadam Mali Pisas Yad Amina Parnasos Ish Anshe Beso. Yirash, meaning to be a loud wind from the Levano Imperio. So Hashem says a big wind, and it takes out the flour from the grain, and a person finds it on the floor, and it's really a lot, and he's able to feed his family with it. Amru, they said about this pasuk, Asida chita, at the time of Mashiach, chita should take shtei kol yoshel shara gadol, a grain of wheat will be the same size as 2 kidneys of a big ox. And don't say this is impossible. There was an incident where a fox went inside a turnip, and it ate the inside of the turnip, and even after it left, Shaklu Matsubo Shishim Litarim Belitra Shel Sipori, the big litar, the liters of Sipori, which is a bigger measurement than a regular liter. There were 60 of them in that turnip, so you can see you can have even nowadays big vegetables. Tanya, Amar Yosef Maisa B'Shichin Be'echad Shehiniach Lo Aviv Shlosha Badei Chardal. There was also another incident. A person his father left them when he died 3 sprouts of mustard seeds. They cut one down and they found tisha kabin, 9 kabin, a big amount, chardal of mustard seed. And with the wood, they were able to make schach, right, for a hut, for, I guess, sukkahs, or they had a hut during the summer to sell things. They were able, with the wood, to make a roof for it. Our father left for us inheritance 1 stalk of cabbage. It was so big, we had to use a ladder to go up and down to harvest it. Amru local mazeh olam haba. Olam hazeh is not like olam haba. Olam hazeh yesh bo sar liv sar l'liджeroch. When you want to harvest grapes, you have to harvest. You have to pick them, to pluck them. You have to trample on them to make the wine. Olam haba maybe anava achas. All you do is bring 1 grape. The car, it's so big, you bring in a wagon of a svina or a boat. Manicha bezav basically you put it in the corner of your house. Like 1 keg, you get. It's like having a full keg of wine in your house. The actual vine yourselves, you can use to burn as firewood. Every grape will be so big that you'll get 30 jugs of wine from it. Chemar can mean wine. Also, the word chomer is 30 sa, 30 measurements of wine. This is a pasuk in the brachos that Yaakov gives to his sons. Iro is like city, right? You're going to need a whole city in order to harvest the grapes. Even trees that don't normally produce fruit. It's going to bring forth fruits that will have to load up 2 donkeys to take it. Maybe these fruits won't have actual wine that come out. You'll be able to even have excess wine to even do your laundry with wine. Maybe it's not red wine. The dam is like blood. The color of blood is red. Maybe it doesn't make you intoxicated. Suso means it influences you. It doesn't taste like it. The darshan word chachlile, right? Any palate which tastes it says more and more for me. Maybe it's only good, only to be tolerated for young boys, for older people not. Don't say levein shinayim, that's not teeth, not a reference to teeth, we'll see in a second. People that are older people will also benefit. Pashi the Kram Mike, what's a simple explanation of the pasuk? Yasser of Dimi Amar K'Yisrael Fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bnei Yisrael says to Hashem, Moshe Shalom Ramos Beinecha the Basim Mechamra. They say to Hashem, right, hint us with your eyes that we're more pleasant than wine. And show us your teeth, the basim mechalva, that we're more pleasant to you than milk. Messiah Rabbi Yochanan, the Am Rabbi Yochanan, Tova Mabin, Hashem was looking that Hashem should show favor to them. Messiah Rabbi Yochanan, this is also a proof that Rabbi Yochanan said, Am Rabbi Yochanan, Tova Mabin Shinam L'Chavero, it's better to smile at your friend, and from Meshkel Chalav, it's better to smile at him and to actually give him milk, to give him something physical. Shemar Levein Shinayim, Mechalav, I'll take your Levein Shinayim, I'll leave one Shinayim, making your teeth white. How do you make your teeth white? You smile. My teeth are a little yellow, but you smile at them. Ruchia bar Ada, Mikri Ardi Kidresh Lakish Haba. Ruchia bar Ada was the teacher of the children of Lakish Haba. Ifkar Tlasa Yomi, he was late 3 days. He was delayed in coming. He took a break, a sick leave. Veloasa wasn't a sick leave. We'll see in a second why he didn't come. Veloasa Kiasa when he came. Amalei Mayavkaras. Why were you so late in coming? Teach my Yeshua. Amalei Delesa Achas. Dalias Achas Hiniachli Abo. It's hard to many Yom Rishon Gilmei Ashkolos. My father left me 1 grapevine. The first day, I had to harvest 300 clusters of grapes. Eshkol Legrav. 1 cluster of grape was enough to make 1 barrel of wine. Yom Sheni Batar to Gilmei Eshkol. The second day, I had to harvest another 300 clusters. Shtei Eshkolos Legrav. It wasn't as abundant, right? 2 clusters provided 1 barrel of wine. Yom Shlishi Batzar Tameno Gilmei Eshkolos. Again, the third day, another 300 clusters. Shalosh Eshkolos Lagrav. Again, it was a little less. It took him 3 clusters to fill up a barrel of wine. If Karti Yoser Mechatzia, it was so much, had to be maftir, more than half of it. Amalei Lavdi if Garet Hava Avdit Fei. If you would have shown up to teach my children, it would have been more plentiful. You would have benefited more financially. Amr Yechezkel Bnei Brak. When Yechezkel came to Bnei Brak, Aznu Lahani Easy the Ka'achlan Tuti Ta'eni. He saw certain goats that were eating under fig trees. A Kanatev Dusham Ta'eni. Right, the real honey is honey that comes from figs. It was dripping down. The Chalva Tayif Minayu, and from the udders of the goats, it was dripping milk. The milk mixed with the honey. That's what it means in the Torah when it says Eretz Israel is flowing with milk and honey, because the goat's milk mixed with the honey of the figs. That's the conclusion of today's shir. Tomorrow will be the last shir. It's at Kesubos. Very exciting. Say Torah Iyam and Sion. We'll talk about being cleaving to Hashem. Right? What exactly does that mean? Say Torah Iyam and Sion coming up next.